Well, nothing written down. I'm a little distracted. I had just finished this Bible study episode for tonight. Made it with only a minute late. We'll see how it goes. Thank you for being here. Welcome to Mud Flood Was Armageddon. The Mud Flood was the Armageddon. Don't let them tell you anything else unless they are willing to debate you in a fair and honest way. I hope this changing weather hasn't, got you up and down. I mean, even I got a little bit of the snifflies, and I think I'm one of the most immune people around. Hey, let's look at the old church family thing, and then we'll go to the. Hey, look at this. There's this thing. We want to save that. That's a disclaimer. I'm going to be looking at some videos. I want to close out these other ones. We'll look at them first. Yeah, that one's got to go. That one did help me prove something. There's that weird shadow. Weird shadow. There's that girl that got fast-tracked to be a captain in the Air Force. Going to fly those gold-domed helicopters. That's what the VIP transports in Washington. Their tops are gold. She was going to pilot one of those around. Those are her buddies. I like this new background I got. I had to flip it good to make it be able to read it now. What's this? Oh, that's that house that girl lives in, $500,000. Been out of school for 5 whole years. You saw that. Gog and MaGog. Gog and MaGog. Do I got some pictures? Might just be there. They are finishing the walls, okay. That's from this morning. So is that. This is a non-picture thing. I've been busy all day. We're going to have to make do with these old pictures. Hey, what's next after these fires? They got a big plan. Well, it's Trump.
So I don't know if it's functional, but according to this map, that's done. But if you see that red line that goes north to the number 2, that is an active project. I think
They're saying billions of dollars got wasted on railroad tracks, that if there would have been enough money to put them in limousines and let them drive back and forth and have millions left over.
Los Angeles and San Francisco is the worst managed project.
You know, the name of the title and tonight is, yeah, things are really weird right now. And what was it like 100 years ago? They didn't have COVID in 1919. They had women can vote and nobody is allowed to drink alcohol in the United States anymore. That's what went down in 1990. And then Prohibition brought in the mafia, the illegal whiskey, the flapper girls, the party times, and the money, all that money. So it's a repeat. We got to look at it. See if it's a repeat. So give me a little more info than that. Then I'm tired of you.
Dollars over budget. In fact, I read where you could take every single person that was going to go on the train and get the finest limousine service in the world and take them back and forth with limousines, and you'd have hundreds of billions of dollars left over. It is the worst thing, and we're going to start an investigation in that because it's not possible.
And I think only Satan could plan this much corruption to be exposed and cleansed up, just like they cleansed up. Remember the burning of the pornography, all the burning of what they called the decadent materials and stuff? Well, it probably was pretty pretty bad. It was this kind of, here's how they programmed us. This is from this morning when the Lord was showing me this is how they programmed us. Look at that. Oh, I forgot that they left it small. These are the famous actors of the future. They stayed famous in the 70s because they could do this independent movie and bring it in. And everybody just thought, oh, that's a magnificent set. Well, that's probably Oakley Court is probably where some massive Renaissance Blavatsky type theosophy went down, man, Rosicrucian style. Who knows if they had any of those Comet Pizza, adrenochrome hot dog parties there. I'm saying probably some Rockefellers. It's a fad. Everybody said, oh, I'd never do that. But then they go see it again and again and sing along with it. I heard about all that weirdness. Never crossed my mind to go see it. No, never decided, oh, I need to go check it out. Come on, man. What's this?
Are among the dozens and dozens and dozens of programs at risk of elimination. Again, there is a 90-day freeze on the organization as a whole, so none of this is happening right now. And I'm not sure if it will survive. So if you have an imperialist, if you are an imperialist, you have lost a tool. Leveraging foreign aid now and increasing the soft power of your associated government. Now, China has the ability to step into the role as the leader in global aid, increasing their soft power at the expense of ours. To any national security hawk, this should be concerning to you. However, as 3 hours ago, oh my God, I just have to take a break for a second. Things like so insane. Moving on. However, as of 3 hours ago, in typical chaos fashion of the Trump administration, they're actually way more organized than last time, being full of loyalists above all else, but still
So this is one of these, former military people.
Protect the bees and punch Nazis. Anyways, it's an age-old public relations ploy to initiate controversial Fridays. People are tuning out for the weekend. The blowback will be limited, and the 24-hour news cycle will turn over a couple of times before Monday, and the story will be somewhat buried in time for a new catastrophe to dominate the headlines. That's the classic age-old PR strategy. And tonight on State of Play, we examine controversial policy move. The Trump administration, through strong arming of unelected immigrant sorry, let me break down all the adjectives I'm using in this one. Through the strong arm policies of unelected immigrant billionaire who worked here illegally on a J-1 visa, Elon Musk, is in the process of shutting down the U.S. Agency for International Development.
I thought that was good. I thought that was good.
Escalating their war on the federal bureaucracy and defying the constitutional power of Congress to determine how money is spent. Musk, the head of Trump's government efficiency initiative, announced the shutdown in the middle of the night in an audio-only appearance on his social media site X. We're shutting it down.
All right. Well, let me clue you in. They win, but not now. Not now. Everything else is going right on schedule with the Flat Earth Nation, Golden Age past thing. Everything is, but we still have, I'll go over the timing with you and the years in the Bible study in a little while, but they win. The Bible shows they win. Right now, it's always give and take and give and take. And right now, it's when they win, it's not going to be with a gay pride flag. It's going to be with a look at me, I'm a senator and we clean this up and we just need a little more control. Something like that. It's not going to be with one of the, I'm trying to think of the Guru RuPaul or the famous cross dressers. They're not going to be the ones that lead this. And we lose people. Did you read the Bible? We get rescued again at Gog, Magog. There was this, that's not what I wanted to see. And these are pulled up from a previous study, ready to go at any time if I will read what love is. Book of Ezekiel. But here's the start. Here's what somebody said Gog and Magog was. This is where I got that cool Gog and Magog thing. You know, it's hard. They say Ezekiel 39 is before the second coming. Ezekiel 38 is after the millennial reign. Huh. Well, let's look at it and see. Now, Ezekiel, that should be right there in the Old Testament. Still there. Now, 38 chapters. So this is afterwards. This is the prophecy against Gog. Okay, well, there was a destruction of the second temple. Set your face towards Gog in the land of Magog. Okay. Hordes out of the north. What does that have to do with this? What does that have to do with the price of tea in China? Who cares who these are in Revelation 20? What's that old expression when they try to clean it up? Who cares one rat's patootie? Who cares? There's going to be people coming against the saints from around the world. All the tribes are mixed up now. Satan uses people that think they're doing the right thing, Gog and Magog, but they're not doing the right thing. They're coming to kill you. Who cares what Gog and Magog, where they were, what they were called, what they looked like, what their speech sounded like during the second destruction of the temple or the destruction of the second temple? And I mean it. Can anybody here drop in? You know, it's so important. It's so what are they from the north? Who cares? Satan gets a people that decide to leave their safe cities and go eliminate the different barracks, the castles of the saints where they have set up, where once again, I might suggest running to the mountains. But I said, but I get so tired of people, telling me that you didn't read the Revelation, man. You didn't see it. They're going to surround the camp of the saints, the beloved city. It could be the North Pole by an island, a magnetic island, like the North Pole in the center of the world was at Jerusalem. But they're going to take a boat to see the camp of the saints because it's a camp. Oh, it's a camp like in the wilderness. No, it's not. It's not at all. It's only used 11 times, and we've talked about strong root words. We like them. Well, that's one of them. We don't even need to. Let's just pop on them all. They're not trying to hide anything. It's the caster on your enemies. They carried it into the castle. They brought it into the castle, into the barracks, into the castle. Well, we know there's plenty of unfound castles and barracks. Jesus was born in a stable. Have you seen the stables for the rich people in their star forts? They turned them into apartment buildings now. There are things like this, these castles all over the world. And people that are not telling you that and are trying to tell you it might be at the North Pole, they're not your friend. They didn't start this theology. They've only glommed on to it and said, we'll take it from here. We think we could take a boat with our children up to the North Pole. And everybody started like, well, maybe you could try and see. We don't know what's up there. And they're not going to let you find out. Whatever they got going on up there is top secret. And it's meant to help kill you later. Not now. Trump's not going to fix it all. And oh man, we dodged them. They win. Como se dice en español? Lo siento, you don't win. Have you read it? They're going to march over the broad plain of the earth and surround them. And fire's going to have to come down and consume the devil and rescue them, because the devil, well, where's the devil? Where's the devil? Where's the devil in verse 25? Where are you? Well, there's no verse 25. Well, we know that the beast and the king, the beast and the false prophet are captured and thrown into the lake of fire. And then there's 1,000 years, and then he's released for time enough to gather an army to go and kill off the people who won't say there's no king but Caesar. And who knows how many lockdowns you're going to have to go through until then. But in the meantime, these days are almost over. Right? There's a little bit of pause between this. You know, the nostalgic term for the gay 90s, called the naughty 90s in Britain. It's a decade, supposedly decadent art. Have you seen the crap? I almost said the S word, but I'm trying to be better. I'm just saying, Oscar Wilde much? And they prop him up because, ooh, it was the beginning of the suffragette movement. They had these witty plays of Oscar Wilde saying, all the time, I'm giving you a come hither look. Gay 90s, and it just rolled right on through. The pre-income tax, the movies, the Belle Epoque in France. Everybody was happy. They had their slaves and servants, and Satan had the eugenic thing going on. He was dividing the nations by color, and he had the white people on top just in time for the last 20 years for the other people in the world to say, you know, we've done the same test and we are smarter, and your brutal barbarism when you took us over doesn't look very appealing to us now. Gonna fly now. Tip, tap, tap. That's how they did their SOS. I'm sending out an SOS. I send my SOS to the world. I hope that, oh man. Hey. Who started all of this? Because remember, there were 300 or 3,000 kingdoms in Bavaria, what they call Germany nowadays. So what do you guys like? Call it Germany. They all found these buildings. You're welcome. You're welcome for somebody finally to say, I think the 1,000-year reign is over, but God gets all the glory. I'm just brought along for the ride. I didn't even know what day it was, and RJ told me 3 times yesterday, and I listened to this knucklehead do his show about something, not her, the other knucklehead. This guy, you know, and he's talking about they're releasing it on
Washington distributed $72 billion
Friday
of
again.
funding in nearly 180 countries. 4 days after taking office, U.S. Secretary of State Marco.
Yeah, he's the Secretary of State. He's a setup too. Sending out an SO. You know what? Everybody goes like, "Oh, you underestimate humans. We could do this." You know, humans could do this, but not with our work ethic today. You know what we're good at? Making excuses for getting average grades. Decadent. This is the snake charmer. There's more going on than there that's more decadent than we know. You decadent? Look at that. Modern dance and a modern dance innovator. That's just a fancy photograph. Butterfly effect. That's what they're going for on that. That's the butterfly effect. And this girl's probably about 14 or something. Show me the butterfly effect. You're a star. Here we go. Here we go. Chariots of the gods. So that was their leading up to it. And then everything kind of went wonky in the roaring 20s. What? They're doing the Charleston. Is that a boy or a girl? People can tell by their fingertips and their shoulders and their arms. And they go, dun, 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 dun. I don't know the Charleston. We were in on it. There we go. This is about the roaring 20s. So gross mess. It was all about stock market could never go down. And then once again, run on the banks, too big to fail. Turns out it was a setup. This was new. You know, you didn't get things going like, oh, we should be kissing around and, you know, here's what's going to happen. She has a cigarette, she has a wine, she gets a kiss. Next thing you know, gets a pimp. She's a vamp. Vampire Fabian. Brought to the screen, Flaming Youth. Oh, and you know, who knows what it was really like? Does it even matter? When they look back at our history and they show kids, you know, because there's still 21, 22 years left. And they're going to be saying, look at this stuff they did in the 2020s. It was everywhere. Gay stuff, the gay stars. And you'll be going like, no, it wasn't everywhere. Well, they'll check the news. It's everywhere in the news. And they made it everywhere in the news in the 1920s and the 1890s. So we can look back and think, well, I guess there's some continuity to it. Not when you realize Satan is in charge. These children hit the ground running with the globe. And now, for the last 50 years, what have they heard along with their globe? The Constitution of the United States protects abortion. It's worse than slavery. And slavery is one of the big reasons that we're being judged. Because we didn't only enslave the blacks, we killed all the Mexicans and the Native Americans and then put them in school and forbade their languages. That's not nice. That's not how it goes. And that's why this world is being judged. And it's a very, very narrow road. A couple more pictures and we'll finish up that Bible study. So there's your Flaming Youth, and here's your equal rights for women. Everything will be okay. See, the problem was votes for women, because for 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 years, there were some hitches in the giddy up along the way, but men and women made it work. And no matter where you went, there was never any talk about, oh boy, I'm sure glad we know now science has proven that gender is fluid. That's brand new. That could only be pulled on people that for 50 years, abortion has been a constitutional right in a world that Satan is loosed. He's deceiving the nations. He's proving there's a very narrow road. Now let's look. So the beast is captured with it. And that always, is it the money system? Because with it, it's somebody that stands with it, the false prophet, who in its presence had done the signs by which he deceived those who had received the mark of the beast and worshipped the image. But Satan didn't get thrown into the pit. And they make sure you know it's Satan. They say the dragon, that ancient serpent, who is the devil, Satan. There could be no denying it. And he got bound for 1,000 years, thrown into a pit. Cannot deceive the nations until it's over. And then you must. This is all an end from the beginning, people. It's all an end from the beginning. Those who did not worship the beast were changed. And they ruled and reigned from heaven with Christ, because there never is a third temple. And we don't come, to life until we're rescued by the fire, or we die in faith before it. When the 1,000 years are over, Satan's out. He's going to come out and deceive the nations. Remember, he couldn't deceive the nations. Now he can. Going to make them do battle. Everybody in their world is good at doing first-person shooter games except Do-Re-Mi. And they're going to march over the broad plain of the earth. Who cares what they look like, what they sound like, what country they come from? We're all mixed up. He's made the nations. They're all going to be against you. They want to eat you. They want to torture you first to get your adrenochrome. Matthew, that's one of what they call a gospel, 4 of them. 3 of them are synoptic. One is John. It's not. These 4 tell pretty much the same story. Matthew, Mark, and Luke. In Matthew 24, we get, when you see the abomination of desolation spoken of by the prophet Daniel standing in the holy place, let the reader understand, flee to the mountains. If you're going to obey the Lord, when this happens, flee to the mountains. Don't go back for your cloak. And if you go to Daniel, he is not in the New Testament. He's the largest of the minor prophets. There's an abomination of desolation that ends it all. Many are going to purify themselves. But Daniel was going to say, what's going on? Oh Lord, what shall be the outcome of these things? And the angel said, go your way, Daniel, for the words are shut up, sealed until the end of time. They're going to act wickedly, but not the white and refined. None of the wicked shall understand, but those who are wise, made wise, shall understand. And from the time, I don't want to hear about Antipaphus sacrificed a cow or a pig in there. That's your Seventh-day Adventist baloney. Listen, when the regular burnt offering is taken away and the abomination of desolation is set up, that is the abomination of desolation. Not one stone left on top of another. A Greek king standing in the Holy of Holies saying, thank you, Zeus, for letting us conquer here and letting them know I am your demigod. That's the abomination. And then there's going to be the 1,000 years. We know they added one, so that's the 1,000 years to go. ruled with a rod of iron. The wheat and the tare grew together, and the wheat faked being Christians because they had to. They could look like wheat. 290 days until, as this is going, this whole short season prophecy thing started with in 9/11. If you go back to 1711, then you start over that Satan short season, and it will end in 2046, because blessed is he who waits and arrives at 1335. That's 45 more years after September 11, 9/11, when the mafias of the world said, we got these nations, we're running them for you to make money. Daniel, go your way until the very, very end. You're going to die. That you shall sleep, you shall rest. And stand in your allotted place at the end of days. He's with us. Daniel's with us. Everybody's with us that did not die because they would not renounce Jesus, or they wouldn't take the mark of the beast. And then Daniel will be there with us, and everybody who was not, martyred in that way. Because at the very end in 20, it might have been faster just to go back click. Because when it's over for us, they march, and remember, the camp of the saints, it's the leftover castles and barracks in the safe places in the mountains. The devil's going to be thrown into the lake of fire. Boom, next chapter, it's over, great white throne. And you better hope you're not blotted out, because everybody, dead, great and small, are going to be judged by what they have done with the gifts and talents God has given them, if you're called, chosen, and faithful. They're all standing before the throne. Another book was opened. This is the one we care about. We want our name in the book of life. And the dead that were judged by what were written in the books according to what they had done. And the sea gave up the dead. Everybody gave up the dead. Who you're in death and hell and Hades and the lake, if you die, you're all going to get that second death in the lake of fire if your name's not written in the book of life, based on what you had done. You're given talents to be in a contest to show God, I'm using all my talents. I'm not going to be somebody that just said, hey, I made some profit. According to their works, he judged them. Show me your good works. You've heard about people thrown in prison for the works of Christ. Your works. You're not saved, but you're saved by grace. You realize you've been given talents, and you're going to say, I'm doing better than so-and-so. Maybe so-and-so is a 30-year Christian. Maybe so-and-so will never get any better. All Christians are thrown into different soil, different suns, and there's different yields. Some yield 30, some 60, some 90, some 100. Is it a 100-fold Christian job to you're not working good enough? Go to the whole, spread the whole gospel to the people that believe and tell them you're not doing it good. No, to the unbelievers. And if there's church discipline, there'll be people that take care of it. Probably not you. It's a flat earth nation. The golden age is past because the mud flood was Armageddon. Me and my friends are never going to tell you anything else. We know we are one called, two chosen, three faithful. We've at least been foreknown before the foundation of the earth. We're called elect. We're called predestined. And we certainly have been adopted into the family of Christ to be co-heirs. It's just the way it is. Amen. Hallelujah. Aho. Aloha. Arriva dirty. Ciao. Sayonara. Auf Wiedersehen. Nach the main.